welcome you. Tune into Rush Hour with me, Ankita Saxena. Well, it's earnings season and Tata Steel has reported a mixed set of results in the first quarter. Revenue has come in lower than what the street was penciling in at 54,771 crores on the back of lower shipments. Now, meanwhile, the profits for the quarter has managed to meet street estimates. On the other hand, the EBITDA and the margins have come in higher than what the analysts were expecting. My colleague Ashesha is joining in with all the number crunching. Over to you, Ashesha.
Well, absolutely. It's a mixed bag that has come in for Tata Steel this time around. Revenues have come in below what the street was working with. But as far as margins are concerned, margins are above what ET Now poll was suggested. And even on a sequential basis, margins look pretty good. As far as volumes are concerned, remember India volumes were on the lower side this quarter, especially after a seasonally strong fourth quarter that the company reported. In fact, adjusted EBITDA per ton for India operations has come in at 13,661 rupees per ton, which is a decline of about 9% on a sequential basis. Remember, steel HRC prices were also largely steady on a sequential basis. As far as European operations are concerned, remember it has been reporting losses for the last several quarters, and now European losses have finally narrowed. So in the quarter gone by, losses have come in at $27 per ton versus $37 per ton loss that the company had reported in the previous quarter. So yes, largely it looks like a mixed bag. Revenues are below what the street was working with, but EBITDA and margins have come in above, and European losses have narrowed, and that is a positive this time around. But to analyze these numbers in greater detail, we now have Aditya Velekar, Senior Research Analyst, Auto and Metals as Axis Securities, now joining us. Aditya, good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. First take on the numbers, looks like European operations are finally turning around. Help us understand, how do you read these numbers?
Yeah, I think you have summarized it well. So European numbers, EBITDA per ton in dollars per ton, the loss has narrowed to $27 per ton from $96 per ton in the last year's quarter and $37 per ton the previous quarter. And at Indian operations also, the margins have held well at 13,660, which was expected to drop down year on year and sequentially because of the lower shipments. So the operating leverage was not there in this quarter. But overall, despite the lower shipments, the margins have held well. So going forward, we have to see that how, because the steel prices are now slightly depressed in the ongoing quarter because of the pressure and issues in China. So we have to see how the company guides on the spreads for the upcoming quarter.
All right. Wanted your thoughts on the European operations in particular. European operations spreads have narrowed, the losses have narrowed this time around, and that is a positive. But what is the outlook for operations for the rest of the year, especially Netherlands and UK, where the transition is in process? So for European operations for the second half of the year, what will the outlook be?
So for the European front, for the Netherlands, they have completed the relining of one of the blast furnace. So the commentary was in the previous con call that they were expecting a positive numbers for this quarter, which is reflecting in these numbers. And going forward, Netherlands is expected to continue to post positive EBITDA per ton. On UK side, the struggle or the issue will continue for maybe another couple of quarters, and then they are expecting the things to improve. So it will be a mixed bag throughout this fiscal year as they transition and close down the heavy end assets at UK. So once the entire process is over, then a clear picture will emerge.
One last question. How do you expect the stock to open tomorrow in trade?
It will be a mixed bag. I mean, it's difficult to say, but overall the numbers look steady. Nothing big negative, but overall the macro tailwinds for the sector are lacking. So especially there is no stimulus announcement from the recent Chinese third plenum meet. So from that perspective, the enthusiasm in the metal space and commodities complex is slightly lacking. So numbers are steady, so it's difficult to how the stock will react. It can react either both to a positive or negative side.
Shesha and Aditya, thank you so much for joining us and weighing in on the numbers. So here's waiting.